Okay, another quick part of math for today, and then we'll move on. So now remember, when we're looking at number lines, we have to look to see what the whole numbers are. Look at this number line with me on page 479. There's 0, 1, and 2. For right now, let's just focus on 0 to 1. How many equal parts are there between 0 and 1? Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that part of the number line is split up into how many equal groups? 4. Friends, that is our numerator on the top or our denominator on the bottom. What is it? Denominator. So all of these fractions are going to have fourths, right? What is this fraction going to be?
1/4.
What's the next one?
2/4.
Then
3/4.
what would this fraction be that's equal to 1?
4/4.
What would be next?
5/4.
Okay, we could say 5/4, or we could say 1 and 1/4. What would this one be? 6/4. Or it could be 1 and 2/4. What would this next one be? 7/4. Or it could be 1 and 3/4. What's the fraction for 2? 8/4. Okay. So looking at this, we're looking at A, right? It says Amira says that A is 7/8. What do we say it is?
7/4.
So is she right? How do you know? What did she do? So no, she's not. How would we explain that then? Amy, what would you say?
No, she is not right because she did not count between 0 and 1 and that was her denominator. She thought 0 from 2, she thought 8 was her denominator
Oh.
because she probably didn't know that 1 really.
Do you understand what Amy was saying there?
Yeah.
That instead of going from 0 to 1 and counting the equal parts, she went from 0 to 2 and counted all of those parts. Is that right? No. So writing that down, excuse me, writing that down, what did she divide it all into? 8s instead of?
4.
So no, she divided it into 8s. Instead of, what did we say?
Counting to the
Instead of
one.
fourths.
Instead of fourths, yeah.
It just paused or something.
Did it? No, it's still going. Okay, so she divided it into 8s. She went from 0 to 2 instead of 0 to 1. Okay, let's look down at part 2. So they've drawn a number line for us. We have 0 and we have 1. So there's only the one hole, right? Use the number line below to show the fraction. What's this fraction? 5/6. All right, now, how many equal parts do we have to split this number line into? What does the denominator tell us? 6. So let's do that first. Go ahead and split your number line into 6 equal parts. So each line is 1/6, right? So double check as you count each line. Count across 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, and then the 1 should be your 6/6. Do you for sure have the correct number of parts in there? Okay, now, instead of explaining how you know where to put 5/6 on there, just label 5/6 on your number line. Either above or below, it doesn't matter. How many parts did you count over to get to it? 5. Your numerator tells you how many lines you need to count across. So count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right there, is that where you labeled it? Okay. Let's look down at 3. Use the number line below to show that there are, 8 eighths in one whole. 8 eighths in one whole. So what are you going to do to each one of these? What are you going to do, Haley?
Going to write the fraction underneath of it.
Right. Either above or below. You're going to label each fraction as it moves across that number line. So what are you going to start with right here?
1,
And then what?
2, 8,
And then
3, 8,
next,
4, 8.
all the way until you get to 8 eighths. So go ahead and do that. What if I accidentally skip a number and wrote something wrong like that? Would that be okay?
No,
Why not?
because it like changes it completely.
Right? It's not split into 4 parts, is it? What if I do this? Am I right?
No.
Do I have an error?
Yes.
What's my mistake?
You skipped 7.
Oh, I forgot 7/8, didn't I? So where does 8/8 go? On the 1. 8/8 equals 1 whole because you have all 8 of the 8 pieces. Okay. Let's look at some word problems. All right, problem 4. Zara and John are hiking on a trail that is 2 miles long. There are signs to mark each, let's circle this, each 1/8 of a mile. Eighth of a mile along the trail. Draw a number line to show the length of the trail. Then mark the number line off to show where each sign is. Okay, how long is the trail?
2 miles.
It's 2 miles long. All right, so we're going to have a number line here. It's going to start out with what number? 0. And it's going to end with what number? 2, because the trail is 2 miles. So what's the next whole number that needs to go in the middle?
1.
Yeah, I got to make sure that I include 1 as close to my middle as possible. Okay, now between each of my whole numbers, I'm going to break it into equal parts. What does the problem tell me it needs to be broken into between each of those? How many equal parts here and how many equal parts there? What does our word problem say that we should break that up into? Connor? It's 8ths because right there it told us. Every 1/8 of a mile, there's a sign. All right. So 8ths means what number? 8. 8ths means what? 8. So how many equal parts are there between 0 and 1? 8. Then also, how many equal parts between 1 and 2? 8 more. So let's do that. Now remember, your 8th one is number 1, and the other 8th one is your number 2. So you have 8 marks between 0 and 1. And then 8 marks between 1 and 2. Are there a lot of signs on that trail then?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if there's a sign every 8th mile, in that 2 miles, there's 16 signs.
In just 2 miles.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a lot.
Okay, friends, that's all we had to do with that one. Because it didn't tell us to label anything, did it? It just said to mark the number line off to show where each sign is. All right, but now we're moving down to part B. So we might be adding stuff to it. Let's read part B to see. Zara stops for water at the 3/8 mile sign. John stops to rest after 12/8 miles. Label the 3/8 mark on your number line with a Z for Zara, and label the 12/8 mark with a J for John. So point to where 3/8 is. We can just use this same number line. Let's not make a new one. Let's use the same one we have. Okay, did you find the 3/8 one? This top number, the numerator, tells us how many parts to count across, right? How many marks are we counting across?
3.
So 1, 2, 3. What are we labeling here?
A Z.
A Z for Zara. Now find the 12/8 spot. We're just going to keep counting across, aren't we? So I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we labeled that with a J for John. Okay, now part C. Who stops before the 1 mile mark? So friends, here's the 1 mile mark, and here's the 2 mile mark. Okay, so who stops before the 1 mile mark? Zara. We'll just say Zara stops before 1 mile. And then who stops after the 1 mile mark?
John.
John stops after 1 mile. Yeah, I think it's gotten worse since you guys have come in. Okay, how do we know that Zara was before 1 mile? Think about Zara's fraction here, this 3/8. We're just going to talk about this, okay? Is our numerator smaller than our denominator?
Yes.
Yeah, so that tells us that we're not to 1 whole yet. But look at John. Is our numerator smaller than our denominator? Is 12 smaller than 8?
No.
No, it's more than 8, isn't it? So that means that that's more than that 1 mile. That's more than 1 whole. When this number on top, your numerator, is bigger than your denominator on the bottom, it means that there's definitely at least 1 whole in there. All right, one more thing. Show me, by making a number line, how you would label 3/4 on your number line. So go ahead and make a number line. What do we always start our number line with?
0.
0. Is 3/4 a whole number yet? No, because that 3 is smaller than 4. So we're not to a whole number yet. So what are we going to label this over here?
1.
1. Now, think about the denominator. Is the denominator the top or the bottom number? Denominator. It's the bottom number. How many parts do we need to break our number line into? What's our denominator telling us?
4.
Do that right now. Then go ahead and label where that fraction should be. Would that be good? Oops, would that be good?
No.
Why not? I have 4 parts.
They're just
They're
not
like
equal.
not equal.
Right. I need to do the best that I can to spread them out as evenly as possible, right? Is that better? Okay. So the top number here, our numerator, tells us how many we'd be counting across since we're having to label it. So count with me, how many?
3.
3. Count with me. 1, 2, 3. So what am I going to label here?
3. 4.
Okay. All right. Do me a favor and put that in your mailbox.